entertain you with audacious confidence. Audacious confidence is the unshakable belief in yourself that's so bold and so daring that you live your life without limits or restrictions. So join me on my show, Unleash Your Audacious Confidence, so we can discover the unknown you. Call in to join the conversation at 888-565-1470. Let's get started. Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. I'm so glad you're here. And today it's April. So happy Easter if you guys celebrated Easter or Passover over the weekend. I just want to say happy Easter, happy Passover, and welcome to the show today. You know, there it is. I was waiting for it to jump up on Facebook. There it is. I'm trying to turn down my volume because there it is. Sorry about that. And I just wanted to say quickly thank you to all of you who are watching on Facebook, those of you who are joining on the radio on 95.3 FM and 1470 AM, and for those of you who are watching on either YouTube or Periscope, welcome Periscope. Thank you so much for joining me. And I'm going to have a great show today. It's just me. You just got me today, and I want to share with you guys some really simple tips on boosting your confidence. And the reason I'm doing the show today, because I got a testimonial, which I'm going to share. But before I do that, I want to have to remind you that I was nominated. Bouncing back on me. I was nominated by one of my colleagues here at the radio station. She MCs this event. She MC'd it last year and she's MCing it this year. It is the 100 Most Outstanding Women of Broward County. And she nominated me for this honor. And I am asking 100 of my friends to donate $10 to the Boys and Girls Club of America. And if you can go to my website, it is www.acradio.live. Go to my website, make a donation to the Boys and Girls Club. I would so appreciate it. You know, this organization, they do so much for kids who are underprivileged, and they give them a place to stay. After school, so they're not wandering in the streets. They have somewhere, they have activities that they do with them. They allow them to do their homework. They have a computer lab. They have arts and crafts. I was fortunate enough to go tour one of their locations recently, and I gave a talk to some of the young men and women that were there, the teens, and it was so much fun. It was really great, and I really encourage you. It's just $10. Go to the website, donate, and help these boys and girls, you know, have an opportunity for success. So let me see. What else? I don't want to lose my train of thought because, you know, that squirrel brain sometimes happens. So let me look at my notes, make sure I'm staying on task. Yes. So today's topic about confidence. If you want to join the conversation, you can either do that on Facebook, because I'm on Facebook now, and you can, you know, write something to me on Facebook if you have a comment or a question for what I'm talking about tonight. And you can also call in at 888-565-1470. So without any more, I'm going to start you know what I'm doing, right? I'm inviting people on Facebook. I'm not ignoring you. I'm actually just hitting inviting people to join us today. Let me go back and see if there are any comments. Yay! So thank you for watching. My cousin is watching. And I just want to say, hi, Kevin. Hi, Phyllis. You know, a couple months ago, if you've been watching, you understand that I also had an incident in my family. And hi, Julie. And I just wanted to say that page is also, that donation page is also still up and running on my website. You can go to acradio.live and you can still donate to Kayla, the Kayla Marie Fund. So we're going to talk about confidence today. And as part of the branding work that I do, I always talk about posture. Posture is really, really important. And in my kind of mind, the way it works is you have to develop a really strong core to have good posture, right? So when you develop a really strong core stands for something when I work with people. So let's just start with the C, and the C is confidence. Recently, I was at church, and one of my friends who's a member there as well, she came up to me and she said something so amazing. I'm so thankful because she sings in the choir. And she told me that because she's been watching these shows, she doesn't get to watch it live. So I'm going to give her a shout out. Hi, I'm Celia. She watches it on replay. And because she's been watching this show, she actually got the confidence to not just sing in the choir anymore, but step out and sing on stage because the way it works is there's a general choir, and then we have 4 or 5 singers that are on stage, and she stepped out to be one of those singers that's on stage during the service on Wednesday nights. And she told me that watching these shows have helped her. So thank you so much, Phyllis. I really, really appreciate it. And I appreciate the hearts that I'm getting on Facebook. Thank you so much. And on Periscope. So I thought maybe I'll talk about confidence a little bit, and checking my time, confidence a little bit. So the thing that drives your confidence, that drives your posture, is authenticity. And a few years ago, I kept hearing this word over and over. I would go to conferences, and I kept hearing these words over and over. Thank you, Phyllis. You have to be your authentic self. You have to be your authentic self. So I started thinking to myself, well, what really is authenticity? How does someone really know that they're operating in authentically? So first of all, the Webster definition of authenticity is not to be false or an imitation. To be true to one's own personality, spirit, or character and be sincere without pretentiousness, without pretensions. So, for me, I've learned over the last couple of years being an actor that in order to really make a character come to life, you have to kind of be authentic to who that character is. And so, I want to talk to you about being authentic to yourself without roles. You know, who are you outside of the roles that you play in your life? Because there are many roles that we play in our lives, and sometimes it requires us to do things a certain way. So let's shed the roles and let's figure out what does it really, from my perspective. You can have your own perspective, and you can share it with me on Facebook, or you can call in and share it with me. But what it is to be authentic, to be able to step into that confidence place in yourself. Because I struggled with that for a long time. And many of you don't know me from before. Some of you do. And you can kind of see an evolution of where I was to where I am now. And you're probably asking yourself now, well, am I really asking, is this a real question that I'm asking? You know, how do you find your authentic self? Because aren't we always our authentic selves? Well, some people are and some people aren't. But I will tell you that you cannot be authentic and be a people pleaser. So if you find that you're a people pleaser, then you may not be your authentic self, because you're going to offend somebody at some point in time, and you can't have your own identity and your own ideas and express those things without somebody else being upset by it. So if you're a people pleaser, you have to look and see where it is that you're not being authentic to who you are. So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to, kind of lay myself bare for a minute and tell you a couple things about me that I know I had a challenge with. And first of all, thank you, Shirley and Phyllis. Yes. First of all, one of the things that has always been a struggle for me, or had always been a struggle for me, was my accent. And I was born in Trinidad, and I grew up in Australia, where most of my language was formed. And so when I moved back to Trinidad, I had a challenge. Well, I had a challenge in Australia because they didn't understand me at first. And then I adopted the accent. And then I moved back to Trinidad and they didn't understand me. So I adopted the accent. And somewhere along the way in my life, my mindset or my thought became that I no longer wanted to have a thick accent. I just wanted people to understand what I'm saying. So many people, they have no idea where I come from when I start speaking. And, they're like, well, I hear something, but I don't know what it is, because I've always strived to be clear in my communication and not allow a dialect or an accent to kind of throw someone. The funny thing is, a couple weeks ago, last month, I spent a week in Trinidad with my cousin and my family, the rest of my family. And of course, once I'm immersed in it, the accent comes out. And I came back home and my kids were like, why are you talking like that? And I said, well, I've been a week immersed in the culture, so especially with my cousin. So yes, it's going to come out. Oh, Phyllis, yeah, you wanted everyone to like you. Then you realized you couldn't please everyone, and the only person you needed to please was God. Thank you. And authenticity became easy for you. Thank you, Phyllis, for sharing. But, my accent came out strong while I was immersed in it, because I didn't have to everybody understood me. Let me just leave it at that. They all understood what I was saying when I was saying it. So, I wasn't being inauthentic or pretentious, and I'm not being inauthentic or pretentious now. This is how I speak. But when I'm immersed with the rest of my family, it comes out. And you can talk to anyone who is from a different culture, and when they're home with the rest of the family, that's what happens. And it's not that you're not being inauthentic. So, I'm going to tell on myself again with another really quick story, and it's about personality types. And I saw Dr. Sam on Facebook. There he is, Dr. Sam, if you're still watching. It kind of gave me a little, when we spoke over the weekend about personality types, I remember reading this book. Hey, Charlie. I remember reading this book over 20 years ago, probably like 23 years ago. I read this book, Dare to Dream by Florence Littauer, and she talked about personality profiles, and she talked about the 4 different personality types. And if you've never heard them, I'm just going to go through them really quickly. It's the sanguine, the choleric, the melancholy, and the phlegmatic. And so the sanguine is the fun personality that's outgoing and happy-go-lucky, and the choleric is the leader, and they're more powerful, and they're driven, and they're committed. And the melancholy, they're deep and thoughtful, and they're very analytical. And the phlegmatic are easygoing. They're the people that, they're just come see, come saw. Hey, Karen, thank you for joining. And so the funny thing is that when I looked at this personality profile, I knew immediately who I was and where I fell into. But there were people around me that when I said, oh yeah, I'm this and that, I'm this and that, and they were like, really? I don't see that. I think you're something else. And I just dismissed it. And today I was looking back at it, and I realized that at the time what I was showing or portraying, just like Phyllis was saying, the people pleaser, I was portraying more phlegmatic tendencies when really I'm sanguine. I mean, come on. But I didn't want to be sanguine. I read the sanguine profile and I'm like, I don't want to be sanguine because sanguines are, in my mind, okay, Kevin, I'm going to get to your comment in a second. Sanguines back then in my mind were flighty and, like airheaded and that's so far from the truth. But, my perception of it was, I don't want to be that. So I'm going to be this instead. And so that's where my authenticity got muddled because I was not being true to who I was because I didn't want to be a sanguine. But look at me, right? It says right here, sanguines are talkative. Hello. So who am I kidding, right? Who am I kidding? So Kevin said that this dialogue is something we as coaches work with our kids all of the time. They want to emulate their sports heroes. Getting them to find themselves is where they make the greatest progress. As human beings, sports is just an expression. By the way, enjoying the discourse. Thank you so much, Kevin. So the thing is, I take a lot of different assessments. I love taking assessments because then I love to look at what my strengths are and really hone those strengths and really play to those strengths. The way this was laid out, and I have it right in front of me from the book, they have the strengths and they have weaknesses. Now, I don't like to say that they're necessarily weaknesses, but there are challenges that you may have. And so I prefer to focus on the strengths that I have and the things that are more of a challenge to me. I'm not trying to make those strengths because I've tried that before too. Tried to make my weaknesses my strengths, and it's just frustrating and it just brings struggle. So focus on the things that you're really strong in and that you're good at. Again, talking. Hello. It says it's a weakness, compulsive talking. Really? It depends on how you use it, because it's not a weakness to me. Being here on the radio show by myself, I'm able to speak for half an hour and not just blab stuff that's incoherent. So figure out what your strengths are, and even things that maybe seemed like they're weaknesses, you can actually develop, not that you're trying to develop them into strengths, but look at them from a different perspective instead of a weakness. I mean, the fact, again, that I am a compulsive talker does not mean it's a weakness, even though they have it categorized as a weakness. Oh, thank you so much, Karen. But it's not a weakness to me because unless no one's listening, I can entertain myself. Hello. I can sit in a room and entertain myself. So let's dig a little bit deeper into this idea of confidence and authenticity, because last week I had my guest on the show was, yeah, Phyllis, that's true. Phyllis just said that she finds that some people think that you're a know-it-all when you focus on your strengths. Well, if you portray it as, yeah, I know, then people can get that kind of impression. But if you're being genuinely open and honest with it, and not in a way that intimidates or intimidate someone else. Let me just leave it at that. Not in a way that intimidates them, because really when someone says that, Phyllis, they're dealing with their own issues and it's not really about you, it's about them. And so if they feel that you're a know-it-all, I say own it. Say, yeah, I am. Thank you very much. So I just wanted to give you a couple tips about how do you really step out in confidence? Because, of course, the first step is to be authentically you and know what that means and know how to operate in that authenticity. Thank you so much, Lou. But that's really the first step, really understanding who you are. And you can take some personality profiles, some personality, different personality assessments. There's this one by Florence Littauer, which is the personality profile. And that's the sanguine, the choleric, the melancholy, and the phlegmatic. But you can also, there are other personality types. Thank you, Maria. Yes, own it. There are other personality types assessments that you can take. And you can also take, there's another one that I really like. It's called the Colby, which doesn't assess your personality, but it assesses your mode of operation. What's your MO? How do you take action? What do you do to take action? And as a sanguine choleric myself, when it comes to Colby, I take action quickly. I'm a quick start. So I always jump in. I'm quick to jump in and do things and think about it later. And again, some people might think that's a weakness, but that's their situation, not mine. So, yeah, Phyllis, we did. It did backfire a little bit. But, okay, so let me get to this because I really wanted to give you a couple tips. I'm looking at my time again. Really want to give you a couple tips in stepping out in confidence. So, know you're being authentic to who you are. And then the second thing that I want you to look at is who were you as a child? Because that's a big clue sometimes. Before you were 5 years old or somewhere between 3 to 7, how were you, how did you operate? How were you? I know as a 3-4-year-old, I was loud, I was boisterous, I was nosy, I was a busybody. And again, all the things as little children you don't want them to be. So, I was, how do I say this delicately? I was corrected a lot in my childhood because I was nosy, because I was a busybody, because I spoke when I wasn't supposed to speak. And, so I was corrected most of the time. And so, if you understand who you were as a child, that can help you find where that authentic place is for yourself. And so, yes, I was a nosy busybody. Oh my gosh. So, yeah. Okay, Jillian. Yes. Don't make me call you out, on live radio. So, the next thing about confidence is when I started telling you I had a guest last week, Maria, and she was talking about making decisions, when you want to do something or when you want to step out, that you have to make a decision. Well, I agree with that. You have to make a decision when you want to step out. But the next thing is you have to make another decision, a secondary decision that's even more important than the first decision. The second decision you have to make is who are you going to be in that moment when you step out and do the thing that you want to do? Because you can step out and still be kind of timid and not wanting to really show up in a powerful way. Or you can make a decision that when I step out, this is how I'm showing up. Because I stepped out to do a lot of things, but then I didn't make that second decision and I didn't show up powerfully. So I stepped out, I made that move and I stepped out, but then I was sort of in a shell when I stepped out. You have the power within yourself to do that. You have the power to make that decision. How am I showing up? How am I going to show up when I step out? And you can, again, take the kind of easy road and just say, well, I'm just going to go with the flow and I'm not going to make any waves and I'm just going to be sort of, there. Or, you know what? If I'm going to make this move and I'm going to step out, I'm going to step out in a big way. And a big way doesn't mean you have to wear red and talk loud and be obnoxious. Stepping out in a big way is taking that moment to evaluate who you want to be in that moment that you step out. Who do you want to be? How do you want to show up? Am I going to give 100% of myself? Am I going to give it all that I have? Or am I just going to, phone it in? So that is really where I wanted to get that point across, because you have the power inside of you to show up in a more powerful way. You have the ability to do that. You just have to make that second decision to do it. And don't back out and don't chicken out of it. I had a great conversation with Dr. Daphne Clark today, Dr. Daphne Clark Hudson, and she's all about conversational intelligence. And one of the things that we were talking about was, again, understanding the difference between what the heart is saying and what the mind is saying. And the heart is always right. So, gosh, my time is already up, guys. So I want to continue this conversation at another time. If you'd like me to, please let me know. And I want to continue this conversation on confidence and authenticity. But Dare to Dream, is the book by Florence Littauer. And I also wanted to talk about fears, because that's in this book, Your Signature Style. And I want to talk about overcoming some of your fears as well as you step out in confidence. So I thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you for all the great feedback and the questions and the comments on Facebook. And I will be back next week with another show. I have a special guest. So I will see you guys. Bye. Take care. Have a great week, everybody. A wise friend always says to me, we have a finite number of minutes to spend. And just like you can only spend $1 once, you can only spend 1 minute once. It's your choice. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for choosing to spend some of your minutes with me on my show. I wish you love, health, and happiness to live your life with audacious confidence. I love you, and we'll see you next time.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.